Hey everyone, this is Paul Gale from PaulGaleNetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is February 1st, 2021, and these are the top stories of the day. To kick things off, we've got something cool from Netflix. It says the following: yes, it's true. Sega's legendary video game icon Sonic the Hedgehog will star in a new 3D animated series from Sega, Wild Brain Studio, and Man of Action Entertainment, premiering on Netflix in 2022. Now, we don't know exactly when next year, but hey, next year is 11 months or so away, and just knowing that a new Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon is coming out is pretty exciting. I'm a big Sonic fan, and the Sonic the Hedgehog movie was nice in theaters from yesteryear, so hopefully this is handled well. Netflix has, handled video game adaptations, smoothly in the past with Castlevania, and we've got King Kong coming up, which isn't quite video games, but something that I'm stoked for. It's got Tomb Raider coming up. So yeah, here's hoping that Sonic turns out nice. It's kind of a Sonic the Hedgehog resurgence, We see Sonic get a lot of attention these days in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on Nintendo Switch. We had a successful Sonic live-action movie last year, and that was handled really well, I thought. And here we've got a new TV series on the horizon. Probably some new games as well. So not bad. Let me know what you expect to see out of it. Are you excited? Because I am. And this ironically just comes after learning of a Sonic the Hedgehog voice actor role change. So how exactly will Sonic sound? That and more remains to be seen, but I will let you know as I get updated myself. Okay, moving along for our mature audiences, just for a moment in this segment. If you are 18 years or older, the new issue of Shag Mag is out. As you know, I handle the video game section of this magazine. Paul Gale Network and Shag Mag work together. And this month's theme that I created for the issue is top Super Bowl video game picks. You're going to have a Super Bowl party. Maybe on the smaller side because of pandemic and, germs and viruses and not spreading things. Maybe you won't have people over. It'll just be those closest to you in your household. Hard to say. Maybe it'll only be online. So I picked 3 video games for this month for your Super Bowl party. And all 3 work well, whether you've got people under one roof around the TV watching the game, or if you happen to be maybe video conferencing to be on the safest side with your friends across the United States, across the world watching, not gathered together, but still 3 games that will be a good fit for a Super Bowl party. So, if you're 18 or older, check out shagmag.com and check out the February 2021 issue if you want to see PGN's input on that. And as always, beginning with November of 2020, this is now the 4th issue that I've contributed, so stay tuned for hopefully March 1st and going into the rest of 2021 with more of my articles coming out in Shag Mag. Moving along, still in mature territory technically, but at least mature in terms of video games more traditionally. Literally, video game right here. Santa Monica Studio announced something really cool today. One of my favorite games from this last generation was God of War on PlayStation 4. I played the game when it came out on my base PS4 and recently dove back in and was playing on my PS5, especially because on my PS4 I was playing on a 1080p TV, 60 inches. Now I'm playing on a 4K 65-inch OLED HDR Max TV, and I'm noticing the difference in quality significantly between God of War then and now. Just the TV alone and the extra power that the PS5 brings is a boost. But now, even more so, there's a new update coming to you tomorrow. On February 2nd, we will be releasing a free patch that replaces the current video graphics mode option with a new default setting that will offer the best of both performance and resolution to our PlayStation 5 players. Enhanced performance experience syncs to 60 frames per second, offers 4K checkerboard resolution, and comes to you at 2160p. Here's just an image, which already looks nice, but of course, to fully appreciate it, you have to play the game on a 4K TV, right? We also are notified that you could go back to the original PS4 favor resolution mode, which is the graphics mode that still offers 4K checkerboard resolution synced to 30 frames per second. You know, I beat the game. I did it 100% every last mission, enemy, Valkyrie quest, but almost the majority of the game was played. Almost every area I reached, almost every weapon was maxed out and stuff like that. So I got my value out of this one. But I'm still going to go in tomorrow, download whatever the new patch is, and experience the game and see if I can notice at this point how much of a difference is this. Is it significant enough? If it's significant enough, you know, I'd consider diving in again and doing a new plus segment, or at least maybe attempting to 100% it because it's a worthwhile visual upgrade. Like, oh wow, that's enough to make me want to really complete everything, you know. But I'm happy with my progress in the game. Loved it. Can't wait for Ragnarok this year. That's one of the top picks for 2021. So yeah, I will probably provide some type of feedback soon with what I thought that this new mode brings, because the PS5 is significantly more powerful than a PS4 Pro, and yeah, give me God of War at the best content, visual aesthetic, resolution, frame rate that you can, because it's a damn fine game. Okay, moving on. Speaking of other awesome games, this one's coming out soon, and I got a little commercial for you.
Hey, Mom, you want to play?
Sure. Oh, it's like this.
Wait, am I a cat? Yeah, I'm a cat.
Okay, jump.
Oh.
You'll get it. Maybe. Double. I got it.
Mom, that was good.
Nice, Mom. Seriously?
Mario and I have some history.
Team up, power up, and one up your family in Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Rated E for everyone, only on Nintendo Switch.
Okay, that's a fun commercial, right? Let's see. Let's get a nice pause screen of the happy family / confused kids. You know, it's obviously a commercial. The actresses are supposed to do what they do, but it's also very real. Like, you know, as a longtime Nintendo gamer myself, with my wife and my son and daughter being on the newer side of video games, you know, I find myself sometimes, you know, demonstrating some impressive moves because I've been playing for years, and my kids, wow, or Daddy, can you do this for me and stuff? So it's kind of cool. So they nailed it with, Mario and I, we go back. I've got some moves with him. It's kind of fun, and I think that will, you know, hit the nail on the head for a lot of parents, or, you know, otherwise gamers that kind of grew up and might be distant of Mario, kind of grew out of video gaming, to watch this commercial and be like, oh, that looks fun. I think I could play that. Of course, Nintendo Switch is, you know, on fire. It's just not stopping. We're a couple of months away from, actually just a little over 1 month away technically, from its 4-year anniversary, and it's just doing as well as ever. So this commercial is going to do well. This game is going to be sweet. I can't wait to hop in again. If it wasn't for Bowser's Fury, there's a chance that we might have just got back in the mood to play it on our Wii U. It's still hooked up. That might have been the way we would go. But it is nice having the option to play 4 players online with this one. You know, the graphics are a little bit tightened up, a little bit higher resolution. Looks like the base game is at 1080p instead of 720p, which it was on Wii U. But really, that inclusion of Bowser's Fury, which I said it looks like a 6-hour experience, maybe less than that, but everything probably 6 hours. Well, reports are actually coming out that, sure enough, the game is about 3 hours long from beginning to end, but 6 hours if you're going for all of the cat shines and having Bowser Jr. with you and completing everything in this new little hub world. And that's pretty meaty. 6 hours of brand new content with a new 3D rotating camera angle and, you know, visual style closer to Super Mario Odyssey than 3D World. 3D World is already an interesting mix of something like, you know, Sunshine Galaxy and New Super Mario Brothers, where it's a 3D game, but it feels like it's a 2D, 3D mix. And apparently Bowser's Fury is kind of like that, but closer on the 3D side. I can't wait. It's going to be a worthwhile package. If you don't have 3D World, you got to get 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. I'm curious, though, if you do have 3D World, is Bowser's Fury the thing that's tipping you over into rebuying this, double dipping, or are you just like, that's not enough for me. I'll wait till it drops or something. I know a lot of people kind of wanted Bowser's Fury to be released as its own standalone thing, but it is smart of Nintendo to release it together because you get a good value, $60 for the two titles. Two titles, there we go. But yeah, it's definitely going to help the game sell more and have people double dip thanks to that Bowser's Fury. But anyways, we've got some good stuff left to talk about today. Coming up next, some not good stuff. I'm just getting that out of the way. Google Stadia announced today a shutdown of internal studios and changing business focus. Google Stadia came out and it's got some stiff competition. The market really is owned by Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. To come in at this point, it's not impossible, but you either have to have something really unique or so much better. Coming in this kind of area of, it does this, but it doesn't do this, and it's different, but is it different necessarily necessary? That's debatable, and hopefully Google Stadia could still exist in the market and succeed, but it looks like it might not be a long-term thing unless if they really do shift focus and come up with something compelling going forward. But to be on the safer side, I'd say it doesn't look like it's going to have a really bright future. But I would be very happy to be wrong and to see, hey, something else succeed on the market, because it's big enough. It's just not the easiest to do. The Intellivision, for instance, my good buddy, longtime friend, Tommy Tallarico, is coming out with a new Intellivision system, the Amico. And it's going to be aimed just at the E crowd. E for everyone. No teen games will be on it. All original games will be created for it. All titles will have family aspect. They will have some original IP being brought out for it, like Earthworm Jim, a unique controller. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle to hit the big market, but at least it is very different in what it offers. It's a family machine that no matter what piece of software you buy, you could have the guarantee, thanks to the ESRB, that you're going to get an E-rated game. There is no accidental M or T rated game that you're going to purchase, and the software library is going to be very different. You're not going to have Street Fighters and stuff like that. You're going to have titles made originally for it. Some will be on the more simple side. Some will be a full-fledged experience, just presented differently. But yeah, I know I kind of deviated from Google Stadia talk into going on the Amico train, but that's how I feel. Like Google Stadia, just how much more did it offer you? Or any of you that are watching, even owners of it? Because I don't know any of my personal friends that are, so it didn't really penetrate the market that much. And part of that is, what could it offer that my Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PS4, and now Xbox Series X, PS5 don't already offer, especially if you're a PC gamer. But anyways, not to talk badly on them. I hope that they could find a way. Maybe they'll have some creative IP. Maybe they'll come up with some new exclusively built to the Stadia platform titles and really nail some genres, or have some exclusive third-party titles that either are exclusive permanently on the system or significantly timed exclusive to it, because that's the kind of stuff that, like, okay, now I can see it makes sense as to why you'd own it, right? But anyways, that's the only downer news for the day, kind of. To finish, we've got some explosive news. Now, if you're not into sales stuff, you're you may or may not be interested in this, but you know me, I love my sales talk. So I am so pumped to talk about this today. Nintendo announced their latest financial figures, and first up we're going to look at software. These are the top 10 best-selling games on the Nintendo Switch. The number one title, the best-selling game on the console, is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with 33.41 million copies sold. This isn't even including the Wii U version of Mario Kart 8, which is 8.45 million. If you add those up together, you're looking at almost 42 million copies sold of Mario Kart 8. There's no wonder why Nintendo hasn't released a Mario Kart 9 yet. This amazing game that they released on Wii U that sold at a very high percentage to Wii U owners was just ported to Nintendo Switch, given a higher frame rate, higher resolution, and a beefy battle mode, and just the DLC carrying over. And it's just one of the best-selling games of all time. One of the best, single console release games ever. Not counting the Wii U version. Amazing. And number two, incredibly impressive. 31.18 million copies of Animal Crossing New Horizons have been sold. Now keep in mind, that's less than 9 full months on the market. The game came out in March, and this goes through December 31st. So you're not even looking at a full 9 months of availability. Mind-blowing. Animal Crossing, before too long, I wouldn't be surprised if it passes Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, although Mario Kart 8 Deluxe isn't really showing any signs of slowing down either. So one of these two is going to be the top best-selling game on Nintendo Switch in the console's history, probably. Unless if something like a Mario Kart 9 comes out and the Nintendo Switch life, lasts that much longer. And number three, very proud of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The game deserves to be a high seller, and it has 22.85 million copies out there. And that's because Mr. Sakurai and team have done so much for the game. Value per dollar, what you're getting with this, entertainment per dollar, you're getting one of the best valuations in gaming ever. Just from the soundtracks alone, how many stages are in the game, over 80 characters, is phenomenal. New DLC still coming out, all the third-party partnerships. It's one of the best games of all time from that perspective, and happens to be a great game as well. A certain amount of that is subjective, but objectively, you really can't deny how much you're getting, how many possibilities you're getting in the game. Different color options, different character configurations, 8 players at once. It's one of the best ever. Next up, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Another one that I'm super proud of because it's truly one of the best games ever made. I'm kind of going back and forth between Breath of the Wild and Ocarina of Time. It changes on a daily, weekly, monthly basis or something like that. I'm replaying through Ocarina of Time now on the new Nintendo 2DS XL because I got my kids that for Christmas, and I'm playing, Ocarina of Time 3D, and I'm just, feeling all of those feels all over again. And the game's soundtrack and dungeon design and bosses and just the nostalgia for the characters. Playing my old N64 copy with my 23-year-old save file still intact on Nintendo 64 just over the weekend, beating Ganondorf, showing my kids, spoiler, last boss, but doing that. And then Breath of the Wild, just the sophistication of the Zelda series in every area. I would say it doesn't hit the same marks in terms of boss design, boss originality, and level look in terms of dungeon level look and originality. But everything else, the world, the writing, the lore behind it, the music's very strong. Maybe Ocarina of Time is stronger in the music category of songs, but Breath of the Wild in its orchestral presentation is more grand. Some of it comes in technology. The technology just makes things better and allows artists, creators to have better size and scope and bring their ideas to reality. But Breath of the Wild just nails it from physics standpoint, fun, how much to do. Kind of like Smash Brothers, one of the best games of all time in terms of you pay $60, you're going to get 400 something hours of entertainment. 22 million copies on the way, 21.45 as of now. Congratulations. Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield just broke through 20.35 million. Really cool. An interesting fact, this is the first time in 22 years that a Pokemon main entry franchise has hit the 20 million mark. The last time it was done was in 1999 with Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Silver. Of course, red, yellow, blue, green, if you're in Japan, that original trilogy, if you count yellow, or if you take away yellow and you just look at, red, blue, green, that's a 30 plus million seller. But the last time something hit, like that 23 million mark is Gold and Silver in 99. So Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield is telling you right now that Pokemon is pretty much as crazy as it's ever been, coming off the success of Pokemon Go on a Nintendo platform such as the Nintendo Switch, very popular, very strong, coming off of a successful movie in Pokemon Detective Pikachu, and an easy entry point in Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu on the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, Pokemon Fever Strong is doing well. Got new Bear Walker promotional skateboards, coming out. Got new trading cards coming out. It's the best time in franchise history since those original first few years. And we got a new Pokemon Snap coming out too in celebration of this 25th anniversary. Very cool. Super Mario Odyssey becoming the #1 best-selling 3D Mario game ever at 20.23 million copies sold. I can't speak well enough about this game. It's a blast. I love it. One of the best 3D Marios ever. Super Mario Party, 13.82 million copies sold. Now, this is wild. Best entry yet in the Mario Party franchise. And it is a very fun Mario Party game. It's interesting, though, that, you look at some of these games and how much DLC they've received. You look at Super Mario Odyssey, very little with the Luigi's expansion. But we did get some 3D Labo support later on. But Super Mario Party, nothing. I would think, bust out another board or two, another map, release it for $12 or something like that. You're selling to 13.82 million players. They're going to eat that up. But still, good game. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, I mentioned earlier that they were off to a good start on Nintendo Switch, and now they've crossed the 13 million mark. So you have your entry point on Pokemon on Nintendo Switch. If you want to go on the easier side and kind of focus less on battles, more on catching, you get this. You want the traditional, bigger Pokemon experience, you get Sword and Shield. And coming up next, Splatoon 2 at 11.9 million. This will hit 12 by the end of the day, and they will probably venture into 13 territory. Depends on kind of when Nintendo releases Splatoon 3. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe comes at the final part of the top 10 list at 9.82 million. That's going to hit 10, any day now. These charts go up to December 31st, 2020. So some of these already are at their next mark, I'm sure. And finally, hardware. Take a look at this. This is dedicated video game sales units for various Nintendo hardware. I said at the beginning of 2020, you can find it in one of my videos, I said, Nintendo Switch, I think it's going to hit 80 million. That's a big goal. Some of you might think I'm crazy. It might be a little shy of 80, give me some credit if it's in the super high 70s, like 78, 79 territory, but I think Nintendo Switch is going to hit 80 million. At the very least, something like, 70, 72, like this thing's going to be on fire. Freaking 79,870,000 units is what Nintendo Switch wound up selling from launch March 3rd of 2017 to December 31st, 2020. That's 130,000 away, which is negligible to 80 million. It passed the Nintendo 3DS. It's got a mind-blowing 500 million pieces of software sold. That attach rate right there is really strong. 79 million Nintendo Switch owners. 79.87 million Nintendo Switch owners. 532,340,000 pieces of software owned. That blows away the 3DS, blows away the Wii U. Coming up next is Wii, and mark my words, by the Nintendo Switch 4-year anniversary, March 3rd. Sorry, by the Nintendo Switch 5-year anniversary, March 3rd, 2022, Nintendo Switch will top Wii. Already topped Wii U a long time ago. This is at 80. It's got 21 million to go. It will do 20 million. It will do 22 plus million within these next 13 months. And we're going to look at a new home console hardware king. However, it's going to take a while to get to Nintendo DS numbers. This may or may not happen. Nintendo DS is at 154.02 million, quite a bit more than Wii's 101.63 million. But look at these two in terms of software. Nintendo's Wii had a lot better of an attach ratio, but Nintendo DS still did extremely well, all things considered. But this is a long way to go, and part of Nintendo Switch's success will be determined in how long does Nintendo plan on keeping the Nintendo Switch as a designated platform of theirs before releasing a Nintendo Switch 2, which would then be a new hardware entry point. Or will they have a Nintendo Switch Plus model that comes out, at that 4.5-year mark or something like that, which would be, this fall, that still adds to that family of Nintendo Switch sales. You got the Switch Lite that drops in price. You got the Switch that drops in price. You have a new higher tier model. All games still playable, but on the Nintendo Switch Plus, it's a little bit more expensive, but it plays games at a more optimum level in terms of frame rate, resolution, etc. If Nintendo handles it just right, you could be looking at a lifespan of 8 or 9 years before having a Nintendo Switch 2. Here I thought, November 2023 would be good. That would be 6.5 years in to have a proper successor. That still might be the case, but even if that does happen, you're going to have even a greater price drop on these regular Nintendo Switches that will still carry on for a few more years. Could Nintendo Switch top this? Maybe. It will definitely top this, though, by March 3rd of 2022. You look at Game Boy Advance, a very successful system, 81.51 million. Game Boy, 118.69 million. Beating Game Boy is going to be quite an accomplishment. I do feel that the Nintendo Switch will ultimately pass Game Boy. I'd be very proud if it passed Nintendo's 2DS, though. Nintendo GameCube at 21.74 million. Nintendo 64 at 32.93. Super Nintendo, 49.10. Family Computer / NES, the Famicom / NES, 61.91 million. It's a very interesting thing when you look back in history and you see how they slowly started to decline in terms of home hardware, and then it just exploded with Wii. And then took a dramatic turn in the opposite direction with Wii U, and then now a dramatic turn in the opposite direction with Nintendo Switch. Whereas on the handheld side, explosive, very solid, yet not as crazy. Beyond explosive, and then very solid, yet, not quite Game Boy Advance levels. Nintendo, they've never had a poor selling piece of handheld in terms of home consoles. Only the Wii U was really a poor seller. You look back in history and you look at the Nintendo GameCube, it still occupied a lot of market mind share because it had heavy hitters. It only sold less than 22 million, but there was no doubt that Wind Waker and Metroid Prime and Resident Evil 4 and Super Smash Bros. Melee and Super Mario Sunshine weren't heavily talked about games of its time. That's exciting, I should say. I'm always pumped up when it comes to hardware figures. Another interesting thing is, you're looking at 797 million pieces of Nintendo Switch hardware sold over the course of 37 years. From 1983 to 2020, Nintendo's 37 years in the market right there, in which case the NES didn't come out in the United States until 85. So it's even more impressive if you narrow the window to 35 years than 37. But still, 797 million consoles out there. And you're looking at a ratio of 21.10 million or so consoles sold per year, every year, for the last 37 years. And that's really wild. The PlayStation 5 is also very successful when it comes to breaking that kind of thing down, where you're looking at, okay, 1994 to 2020, 26-year window, you know, how many PS consoles have been sold out there? 540 million. You divide that, and you're also looking at like this 21 point something million, you know, amount of consoles sold per year for 26 years. At the end of the day, I'd have to give Nintendo the tip of the hat. I'd have to give them the win in terms of overall most impressive, most consistent selling hardware in the industry, because they've done it longer. You know, if Sony continues at this trajectory, and when they've been doing it for 37 years, if they still have this number of that 21 point something million and it's better than Nintendo's, then Sony's first 37 years is better than Nintendo's first 37 years. But then by then, you'll have to see, well, where is Nintendo at? Because at this point, they will have been at it for that much longer. So, yeah, those are the kings of the video game industry right there. You've got Nintendo and Sony outlasting everyone else. Sony has become old school, which is kind of crazy because at one point they were the newbie. But everybody else, Atari, Intellivision, Sega, Magnavox, Odyssey, you know, these old giants are no longer still in the game. You know, it's a different world now with Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, but Nintendo has outlasted everyone, still being dominant, and Sony coming in, you know, relatively early in the video game industry, but later compared to the others, at least, also very significant, very powerful. And, you know, even Xbox, even though Xbox One wasn't a giant hit, still sold well. Xbox 360 managed to do very well. And Microsoft, you know, has definitely etched itself into video game history with now what will be 20 years, and that's pretty impressive. I don't see these three giants going anywhere. And that's what makes it hard for someone like a Google Stadia to come in and have some successful market penetration. All right, though. That's been a fun one for me personally. Hope you had fun watching. This is Paul Gale from paulgalenetworks.com. Signing out. Thanks. Have a good one. Bye.